Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today and watching this presentation. Essentially, this is for you. You are an admitted international student, so we are so looking forward to seeing you at Illinois Institute of Technology. So welcome. These are your first steps to making sure that you have everything ready in order to be successful. So with that being said, I am Samantha DeLeon. I'm the Associate Director for International Enrollment, and we are looking forward to seeing you here on our campus very soon. I'm going to break this down by your I-20 and your next steps. We're also going to be looking at preparing for your visa interview, Illinois Tech specific next steps in regards to things like student orientation and anything that you might need, arriving to the United States, and then reminders on checking in with the I-Center, and then other helpful resources along the way. So with that being said, I just want to present to you this graph, this chart, because it's going to show your progression from admission all the way down to actually coming to campus. It's going to start with the admission and the I-20 process. In order for you to get that I-20, which is what you'll take with you to the U.S. Embassy or consulate, you're going to need your passport copy and your financial affidavit of support. Once you send that to us and we verify the information, we're going to go ahead and issue you that I-20. And then once you have that I-20, you're going to go ahead and pay the CVIS fee and then schedule that interview at your nearest embassy or consulate. Again, this is for you to get that student F1 visa within your passport. And then in addition to that, we're going to help guide you in preparing for Illinois Tech. So that includes things like SOAR, which stands for the Student Orientation, Advising, and Registration. You're going to want to make sure you submit your tuition deposit. You're going to want to speak with your academic advisor, register for classes, and also register for housing, and then book your tickets to the United States. Sometimes those things are happening at the same time, so we just want to make sure that you feel comfortable about your next steps. And then last but not least, we have SOAR, which again stands for the Student Orientation, Advising, and Registration, and move in. So, by that time, we are now welcoming you here to the beautiful city of Chicago. Again, just a reminder, check into the I-Center 24 hours upon arrival to the US, or if you are a transfer student coming from a school like a junior college, a community college, or maybe a boarding school if you're coming from a high school within the United States, that you must check in within 24 hours. And again, making sure that you are also checked in with our student health and wellness to make sure that you have all the correct immunizations and anything else that you might need. So let's break down that I-20 for you and understanding the financial affidavit of support. I know that a lot of institutions will start using acronyms, and so you'll actually hear that financial affidavit of support referred to as FAS. That FAS is going to be what we need completed in order to issue you that I-20. What we need is to see bank statements with liquid funds and a valid passport copy. So with that being said, make sure that your financial affidavit of support form guidelines, make sure that these have been signed by students as well as sponsors. If you have more than one bank statement, letter, or sponsor, each entity must sign and submit certificates by the bank or that agency. So they're just certifying that you do have enough funds or you are being covered to study at the university. And then copies of your financial statements can be submitted to Illinois Tech for verification to receive the I-20, but you must retain your original statements for your visa appointment as well as coming into the country once you have your visa. Make sure that your bank statement or letter, these are guidelines that we want to make sure that you are familiar with. They must be dated within 6 months of the start of class. The name of the account holder must be present. If you happen to be getting a scholarship letter from a government agency, make sure that is on formal letterhead. And the amount in the account must be listed. So you can't just say, this student has enough money to come. We do need to see the amount in terms of what is going to be covering your education here. And we need to know the type of account. Is it a checking? Is it a savings? Again, a quick reminder, liquid funds only. The type of currency must also be included. So we need to know if it's coming to us from a specific country. So then that way we can do a conversion to US dollars. And last but not least, make sure that you have this in English or it includes a certified English translation. Again, those are for the bank statements or some type of letter saying that you do have enough funds to come to the institution. This is actually something that I really do highlight to our students, and I really highly recommend that you use this. It is a financial planning certificate to do a cost analysis of your educational experience at Illinois Tech. I think one of the things that's very, very important here is that you are very much aware of what you will be expected to pay while you study during the 4 years here at the institution, or 5 years should you decide to go for that co-terminal program. And so with that being said, we want to make sure that you understand that the cost of attendance includes your tuition, your room and board, so that's your meals. That also includes where you're living, and that also includes things like your tuition, so student activity fees, any other fees associated with the university, as well as your health insurance. And so those are the types of things that we highly recommend. Now in line A that you see there, you'll actually take the full amount of the cost of attendance at Illinois Tech and then subtract that merit-based scholarship, or maybe if you received a housing scholarship from Illinois Tech. You'll then add personal funds if you have any in your name, and then you'll add your family funds and you'll put that down. And then D is for other funding sources. So whether you are receiving scholarships from an external source, maybe government funds, make sure that you add that to the cost of attendance, because then you actually do a quick calculation, and in line E, that is how much you should be expected to pay each year. We do also recommend that students know that tuition does increase maybe 2 to 3% each year. So we want to make sure that you anticipate for that as well. So with that being said, let's transition to now if you are an international student in the United States. One of the questions that we always get is, where's my I-20? And we always want to ask, have you submitted your transfer release form to Illinois Tech? So at the bottom there, bottom right-hand corner, you see the school transfer for F1 students. This is really, really important. In order for a current institution like a community college or another university, if they currently have your CVIS ID, you would then ask for them to release it to Illinois Tech. And then once we get that, you'll actually, once that has been released to us, you'll then get your I-20. Again, you'll have to work with your current PDSO or your DSO, which are your primary or your designated school officials, who currently can then release that to Illinois Tech. That website at the bottom there is for you to kind of just see where you can actually find that as well. Now, preparing for your visa. This is really helpful because I think the next step is, once you have your I-20, a lot of students are thinking, well, what's next? I have to go for my student visa appointment at the US Embassy or consulate. Again, this is an interview. I highly recommend that you over-prepare. What does this mean? Bring your I-20. Make sure it's the original copy that you have. If it's the electronic version that you've received from Illinois Tech, make sure that is printed out and that you can carry that with you to the embassy or consulate. Bring your passport. Bring copies of your transcripts, your test scores, your bank statements, your diploma. Basically, you never want to give that consular officer a reason to say no to you. So you want to over-prepare. So if he says, I really want to see your test scores from an English test, you can say, absolutely, here's a copy of it. I would like to now see your transcripts. You can say, here's a copy of it. They might even say, where's your letter of admission? You can say, here it is. Make sure you have everything all ready to go so they don't have to ask you to come back. In addition to that, have that organized already. So I've heard students say, I brought a file folder and I had everything there and I had everything already listed and I had everything in order. So if they asked me, I said, sir, here it is, or ma'am, here it is. I already have that for you. Just note that biometrics may be required, so you want to make sure that you have that information prepared and ready to go should you need to go for biometrics. And this is very important. Be truthful and honest in all of your answers. They can detect when a student is lying to them. So you just want to make sure that you're presenting your best self in regards to this interview. Again, we are so fortunate that you have chosen Illinois Tech to be a place for you to study. We just want to make sure that you are able to get that student visa to come to the United States. In addition to that, dress your best. I cannot stress this enough. Sometimes you only have 30 seconds to make that appearance and make that good impression on that consular officer. They're going to be looking at how you dress, how you act, your mannerisms. So again, make sure that you remember that this is an interview for your future at our institution. With that being said, it's a conversation. This is so important. Remember that you are preparing yourself to converse, not just sit there and wait for questions to be given to you, but you should be able to answer these questions without trying to figure out what is the answer. The questions that might be commonly asked of you is, why are you coming to Illinois Tech? What is your program? Who is funding your education? What do you hope to gain from this degree? How will you use your education to improve your community and country? Share a fun fact about Illinois Tech. I mean, I think these are just some of the things that you need to have in your repertoire. You have to have these in your mind so that if they ask you, well, why are you choosing the university? You can say, I think that pumpkin lunch that they do every single year is really, really cool. I want to be able to be one of those students who creates that with our mechanical engineers on campus. If you're not familiar with iPro yet, it stands for the Interprofessional Projects here on campus. It is a requirement of our undergraduate students to do over 2 semesters. Consider it like a built-in internship in order for you to progress on and graduate from the university. Make sure you are also aware of our successful alumni. I know you always hear Marty Cooper. He was the inventor of the first handheld cell phone, but there are other alumni like Virgil Abloh, who is now a creative director for Louis Vuitton. In addition to that, did you know that Illinois Tech was an architectural campus? What does that mean? It's actually a landmark campus. The architect who designed and our campus was Mies van der Rohe, Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, and he's the father of minimalism. He coined that term less is more. So maybe if you want to actually add a fun fact to your interview, make sure you have these informations available so you can start that conversation. Now, here are your next steps with Illinois Tech. So now at this point, you have your I-20, you've gotten your student visa, you were successful now in getting your passport back, and it has F1 student visa to come study at Illinois Institute of Technology for the next 4 years. So with that being said, here are some things that you want to do after you have received your passport and visa. Submit your tuition deposit on your student portal. That is my.iit.edu. You'll go ahead and pay that tuition deposit for the year. It essentially signifies to the university that we should be expecting you and you will be coming to the university. But also one of the things that it does for us, it helps us understand that since you are coming to the university, we'll make sure to save that spot for you. You were successful in getting your student visa. Speak with your academic advisor. Students think, oh, well, when should I actually start talking to them? You can start connecting with them as soon as possible. But if for whatever reason you've messaged them and you haven't heard back from them, connect with your counselor within the admissions office, and we'll make sure to do that e-introduction again, so that way you can get the help that you need. Register for classes after you've connected with your academic advisor. Some programs do require you to go through SOAR prior to this step. Some of them also require you to speak with your academic advisor because you need a PIN in order to register for those classes. And last but not least, but register for housing. So again, these are some of the things that you're doing at the same time, but we want to make sure that you have your priority housing selected, that you already have your tuition paid, and that you're getting the correct information to know how to come to our campus in the next few, maybe weeks to months. Now, here's the chance when, students are actually coming to the United States. And so we do want to highlight some of the things that our students have already told us. Things to bring. Travel tips. Bring US dollars if you can. Things you might not think to bring as well. We actually asked some of our students, what do you wish you would have known? Someone said, I wish I had brought just a flat or fitted bed sheet the first day, because after traveling 20 hours from my home country, I just needed a place to sleep. And so she told us, I wish I had sheets to just sleep on. Scissors, school supplies, anything else that you might particularly need. Again, you can purchase a lot of these things here on campus, as well as within, a few stores not too far away. But I would highly recommend, she recommended scissors because she goes, oh, we started getting all these packages in because we did some online shopping and we didn't have scissors. If you do happen to bring those, make sure you check them in and not put them in your carry-on luggage with you, because that usually would be confiscated while you jump on a plane coming to the United States. Other things like toiletries for the first week, your favorite snacks from home, My student said, you're gonna miss these so much. So make sure that you have these with you if possible. And then prescription medications. If you do happen to have a doctor's note or a pharmacist's note with your name on it, make sure that you have these with you and do not check them into your luggage in case your luggage goes missing. So that's just some things that you want to remind yourself on what to bring, what you need, and what else you might want in order to prepare for Illinois Tech. Last but not least, some students are saying, but what if I just prefer to shop once I get there? Absolutely. We have stores like Target, which is not too far away, as well as Amazon, which is an online retailer where you can purchase anything from food to bedding to school supplies, toiletries, and anything you might need. Now it's time for you to actually enter the United States. So you've now packed your luggage and you have boarded that plane, and now you are coming to the United States and you are getting off of that airplane. Don't forget, I know that sometimes it's really difficult because now you've been traveling those 20+ hours, you're tired. Make sure that you have your original I-20 with you in a place that you can access that easily, that you also have your passport with you, and the address of where you will be going when you arrive in the United States. Be prepared to speak to the U.S. Customs Border Patrol about the purpose of your visit to the U.S. and be truthful and confident in your answers. Again, this is just another level of making sure that our students are well equipped to coming to Illinois Institute of Technology, that when you represent your country as well as the university, that you're speaking to these government officials, they're asking you, where are you going to be staying? They just want to make sure that you have been consistent with your answers all across from the U.S. consulate to the Customs and Border Patrol. Now, this is really important because I know a lot of students are wondering, how do I get to campus now that I'm here and I've exited Terminal 5, let's say, at O'Hare? Getting to campus from O'Hare International Airport, I'm leaving you the link right there that you can go ahead and search yourself. But also taxis are just right outside and available. You can jump in the line, and again, make sure you get in the taxi queue, which is right outside of campus, right outside of the airport, headed to campus, and you can let them know exactly where you're going. It roughly costs about $55, and then you add a tip, which is maybe like $5, so about $60 US. You can also take Go Airport Express, which is a shuttle service, and then the last thing is a train or Chicago Transit Authority, which is the longest way to get there. It's not necessarily as convenient if you have multiple luggages, but it is probably the most economical, which costs less than $5, but it will take the longest. Other options that I will just share, there are Lyft ride services like Uber or Lyft, Lyft. Make sure you have the app and that you have downloaded or uploaded a credit card that can extract any funds should you take that to campus. Now, this is really important because now once you have already arrived to Chicago, you need to check into the I-Center. Again, the I-Center stands for the International Center. This is mandatory. All students must check in within 24 hours of arriving to the United States. This is so important. You will need to go to the McCormick Tribune Campus Center. And again, make sure you have this phone number, 312-567-3680. And you also have the email icenter@iit.edu. And then that way we will have all the information for you to basically, we as a university want to confirm that you have all the information necessary to know that you have checked in and that you are here in the country to start studying. We just want to make sure that the government knows that you have now arrived. Students who are transferring within the United States must also check in. This is very important because students who are transferring from a community college, a junior college, or even a boarding school, make sure that you have checked in to verify that you are now here to study within 24 hours. Students who fail to do this can have their CVIS ID canceled, and so that would mean that you would be ineligible to study here in the United States. So I'm going to leave you now with helpful resources that I think students should actually know of. I highly recommend visiting our resources admitted student page for undergraduate students. Here you can actually see the student handbook, the my.iit.edu, which actually stands for the student portal. So you might hear these words my.iit.edu and student portal be used interchangeably. They are the same thing. And then managing your student account. So these are just some of the things that I really highlight because I want you to, have the resources to be successful once you get here to campus. Again, I'm going to leave you with this timeline of the expectation. Again, this is why we highly recommend that you work with our counselors, that you have everything ready to go, but we just want to make sure that we are setting you up for success. And, we cannot wait to see you here at Illinois Institute of Technology. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you very much for listening to this presentation. I hope that you found this helpful, and most importantly, safe travels on your journey, and we will see you soon. Thank you.